Good evening. Are you guys there? Can you see me? Have I gone live? No, it's saying it's waiting. Oh, hang on. No, we're going live now. Oh, we're starting with an advert. Right. Yeah, I'm there now. I can see. Right. So it's been a while since I've done one of these live videos, so you'll have to bear with me while I get used to everything again. So let's go through some of the top comments that I've had so far. Yes, I do work on Fiat 500s. I just haven't had any in to do any videos on lately. So I normally do videos on something that comes into the unit that a customer brings into me, and just haven't had anything to worthwhile filming any videos on lately. Yes, they are rare chats. I don't tend to go live very often. Merry Christmas to you, Snoop Log. Yeah, you can ask some technical questions tonight if you want. Nothing too deep though, please. It is a Saturday night and I have been working most of the day today. Any thoughts on the Alpha 156 the JTS engine? As you watch all my videos, I'm not a fan of any Alpha engine that ends in JTS. The 2-litre ones are not bad. They're okay, but they do have their faults, so just stick with a twin spark engine. I have worked on a few Fiat Bravos, but nothing I have ever featured on the channel. I try and keep my videos reasonably interesting. I think I do anyway, so let's see where they go for 2021. Plans for the channel, it's for next year, is to actually finally finish some of my own projects. I want to get my red GTA finished, and then I want to start work on my 156 Sport Wagon, which I've still got hiding in the back of the unit. But at the minute, the main projects are to finish customer cars. I've got the GT to now finish. Oops, shouldn't have said that. You'll find out tomorrow. And I have got to finish the Fiat Coupe. That's the main one now, is to get that Fiat Coupe finished. And also the 166, which has been sitting outside my unit for most of the year. That should get finished in January. Right, next one. What do we got there? KHK Gaming, thank you for the comment. JTS problems. There's loads of them. I'll do a specific video on that at some point. But yeah, go for twin spark. It's a lot less hassle. I would remake the 156 GTAs have problems with the ECUs getting too hot. The hot and cold cycles in the engine is breaking the solders inside the ECU. So what you can do is, there's not much extra wiring loom, but if you take it off the top of the back of the intake manifold, turn it around, design a mount it on the back of the engine rather than on the back of the bulkhead rather than on the engine. It'll be a little bit cooler, and you could also put a heat shield in front of it to keep it cool. I may have to do a video and make one, because I do have three GTAs in the workshop at the minute. And there's also another GTA coming up in another episode which has an ECU problem, so we've got to diagnose that. Yes, I know I am quite guilty for not using ear and eye protection enough, but I am improving that every time I get the tools out nowadays. I always wear my goggles though now, I always wear that, because I've had a few close calls where stuff has gone into my eye and it's been a bugger to get out. Right, hang on, things are flying a bit quick now, let me go up. Tariq, yeah, thank you for watching. Have I ever worked on the older Alphas? No, I don't. I only ever really work on sort of the 95 and up. That's just sort of where my confidence lies in Alphas. Yeah, I'll look and I'll tinker, I'll look at anything. But my expertise lies with sort of 95 to 2015 cars. I mean, I will look at Giulias and Stelvios and Giuliettas and everything. I don't have a problem with that. It's just the older stuff I don't tend to have much knowledge on when it comes to regular faults and stuff like that. Would you say I'm not a fan of any JTS engine. I keep answering all your questions. My channel lacks originality. Sorry. Any trips planned for 2021? Yes, I would like to do a road trip in the Giulia and film a couple of videos about how the Giulia is on long journeys and all sorts of different stuff about it. But with lockdown and the weather at the minute, it's not much fun to be out in the Giulia, to be honest, because you can't put your foot down. So it's just you might as well be trundling along in a little diesel. To be honest, you can't really use the power. Hello to Fabio. How much money have I got? Not very much, to be honest. I'm not YouTube famous, unfortunately, so I don't have tons of money. I've got to go back a bit now. You Guy Kent, yeah, good. You've restored a 147. That's good. Keep them going. They are getting a rare sight now. I actually worked on a first generation 147 this week. Did a wheel bearing on it, low wishbones, and I did something like handbrake cables on one. But I've done videos on that already, so I didn't film anything. Should have done a video on the wheel bearing actually, because I've never done a video on a wheel bearing change yet. I've got a tickle in my throat 10 minutes before I started filming, so I might be coughing a bit tonight. What are my thoughts on multi-air engines? They are pretty much the only small engine that Fiat does at the minute, other than the twin-air engine. They are pretty good. You've got to look after them. You've got to give them regular oil changes and with the correct oil, otherwise you'll knacker your multi-air engines up. But other than that, yeah, no, they're fine. They're powerful. They're reasonably economical. Went in a brand new Giulietta last week, and that had it was the new sport version with sort of grey side skirts and a few other little sort of modern touches to it, and was getting 50 mpg down the motorway from a 1.4 multi-air, so it's not bad. Hello Giuseppe. Is a cam belt change on a JTD easy? Yes, they're very easy. You don't even need any locking tools. You can just use the cam belt because the cam belt has timing marks on them. You don't even need to mark any Tipex marks. Thank you, Seamus. Thank you for watching my videos. What colour would I like to have a Brera in? I'm always a stickler for white or red, to be honest. So 8C red's always a nice one. I do wish I could have had my Giulia was that red, but couldn't find one with the spec I wanted. Thank you for watching my videos, Ethan. Buzzo's engines are one of the most robust engines out there. The only one I wouldn't say to buy is the 3.8 or the 3.7 because they're heavily modified and can go wrong very easily. But yeah, the most reliable and robust one is the 2.5 and the 3 litre. I can't comment on the 2 litre turbo one because they're not that common in the UK, and I don't think I've even seen one in the flesh, let alone worked on one. My view on other brands. I like most stuff apart from the Korean stuff. Although I will say they are very reliable and they will go on forever and they're pretty well made, but the material qualities they use on the body panels and the plastics on the inside is just too cheap and nasty and hard wearing, and I'm not a fan of it. Although I would own one, I'd have to be pretty pushed to buy one. The new the Kia Stinger, that's actually quite a very nice car actually, and I did actually look at one of those when I was considering a Giulia, but unfortunately it's got that big Kia badge on the steering wheel and it just has no racing pedigree or anything unique really about it, so I never bothered. Yep, take care of your Bravo, that's good. If your new belt doesn't have any timing marks on it, don't use it because that's the wrong timing belt for the car. Good stuff. You bought an Alpha 145 Cloverleaf. They are a very underappreciated car. They are awesome little things to drive and are great fun. The only problem with them mainly is they do like to rust. And again, I'll be doing another video on it when I eventually get time to do it. Is on the rusting areas on 145. I still haven't done a buyer's guide on the 145 yet. I should get around to that, being as I've got about 5 of them in the unit at the minute. What cars have I got for sale? I have 0 for sale at the minute. I could be pushed to sell the Barchetta, the blue 145 Cloverleaf I've got, and maybe even my yellow 145 Cloverleaf if somebody offered me the right money for it. But at the minute, I don't have anything for sale. I haven't got time to finish my cars at the minute. I wish I had, but I haven't. Why do Alphas rust compared to... It's no different, really. All generations of older cars rust. And during the noughties, every motor manufacturer went through a stage of using cheap Chinese steel. And that is the reason why a lot of people are having problems with their subframes rusting on cars. It's not just Alphas, it's Toyotas, it's Nissans, Alphas as well. I'm not sure about VW, Audi and all that because I don't really follow those very much. But yeah, it's not just Alphas. It is pretty much across the board with most cars sort of mid-noughties up to 2015. Hi Neil. Yeah, get the 3 litre in a GTV. They are the most fun and probably the cheapest way of getting yourself into a pretty reliable Buzzo. Yeah, they shelved the Buzzo engine because of emissions reasons. I have somebody bringing me a drink now. Thank you very much. The walk-on roll for my evening, this evening for my wife. You're putting ice in my drink as well. I'm being well looked after tonight. It's going to overflow.
No, it's not. I'm not going to drink it.
Right. Thank you. So, cheers, guys. Happy Christmas.
Cheers, Chloe. Where's Chloe? Come on, doggies.
Okay. Right. Leave me in peace now. I've lost my flow now.
Sorry.
Right. Okay. Jimmy Thomas, the only rust you found on your 145 is the front bumper mounts. Where in the world is your 145 then? Because pretty much every single 145 I've touched has either had some form of welding or needs some form of welding to it. What's up with my Julia? There's pretty much nothing up with my Julia apart from I've got a really annoying knock vibration rattle coming from either underside or the rear end, and it's been in the dealers several times. And unfortunately, it hasn't been remedied. So when I have some time next week, I am getting it on my ramp and I'm going to take all the under trays off it and drive it without the under trays off it, just in case one of those is vibrating when I go over some certain bumps. Hi, Integrale. Good on you being an MOT tester. It's a job I couldn't do. It's a little bit too monotonous for me, but yeah, I do appreciate you guys MOTing my cars for me. Hi, Chloe. Yeah, you should always wanted me to say hi in a video for us, so there you go. You can have a hi in the live video. How hard is it to change engine models in an Alpha 156? Just the engine gearbox if you needed to. I wouldn't even bother, mate. Just buy a car with the engine you want in it. It's a lot easier and a lot cheaper. Am I a hacker? No, I'm not a hacker. I wish there was an update on the Orange Punto. I am working through my vehicles very slowly, and I will get there eventually. I did hope to have some videos on it, but I've gone that busy working on customer cars. I haven't had any time to work on my own stuff. I am building a collection of parts for my GTA. I recently purchased a Q2 differential to go in it. I have 0 experience with Lancias. There really aren't many of them in the UK at all, especially the newer ones anyway. My all-time favourite Alpha. Oh, hang on, I broke it now. No, I moved down. Niall, thank you for the donation. KHK Gaming. If anybody else wants to donate towards my Christmas boost fund, you're more than welcome to tonight. My all-time favourite Alpha. Ooh, gold. I always used to have a real soft spot for the 145s, but now I feel as though I've been there, done that, fully restored one. I've got the ticket sitting in the unit now, and but yeah, it was nothing. I've owned everything I've wanted to now, so there's nothing could say is my all-time favourite one. I wanted the Quadrifoglio Giulia. That was the Alpha I wanted and loved the most. And now I'm lucky enough to have one. So I just want the weather now to be able to fully enjoy it. Well, the thesis isn't that just pretty much a 155 in drag? Isn't it pretty much the same chassis as the Alpha 155? Or am I thinking about a one? Oh yeah, the Calibra, yes. When they were out, I was probably in my early teens, and I remember seeing them in the road all the time. They were really quite popular in the UK, and I just thought they looked really nice for what was effectively a Cavalier. They were a really good-looking car, and I always wanted one. And when I had my first house, one of the neighbours had a blue 4x4 Turbo. I think it was a 4x4 Turbo one, and I just think it looked awesome. And time just passed, and I never owned one. So I think maybe on one time on the channel, once I've got all these other projects out the way, I might either buy a Calibra, a Corrado, a Fiesta XR2i, because I only ever owned one of those back in the day. I bought it from a local auction, and it was a proper dog. I ended up chucking it back to the auction after doing some bodywork on it, and I think I lost about £200-300 on it. So I never ventured into doing one of those again. Ever worked on an Alpha Spider? I've worked on loads of Alpha Spiders. Which generation do you mean? How many green parts? Sorry, I got ice cream into my mouth then. Any green parts for a 146? No, I've got a green 145, but you're not really going to want any body panels off that. The V6 turbo engines, as far as I'm aware, they were only fitted into the early Phase 1 GTVs in Europe, or probably some other countries in the world, but they never came to the UK. We've only had a few imported. My position on Alpha being with us in 5 years' time, Alpha really needs to evolve, and it needs to step up, because they're currently 5 years, I'd say 5 years behind all the other manufacturers when it comes for technology. And that was pretty obvious when the Giulia first came out, with the infotainment system being so outdated. They were great, great with the sorting out the handling and the way it looks, but technology-wise, they are far behind the mark when it comes to anybody else. I think Fiat are doing a pretty good job now. I think they're on the right track with the new Fiat 500e. They're only bringing it out in the UK in electric form. So, that should be good, because that's I've said to quite a few of my customers, the first mainstream manufacturer that brings out a fully electric car that can do 200 miles for under 20 grand, and they will sell shed loads of them, and they just swore then, but I'm not going to do that. They will sell shed loads of them, because that's what people are crying out for. All current electric cars, they're slapping sort of 10 to 8 grand extra price on them just because they've got a battery, when they have sort of 80% less mechanical moving parts. These cars, like the new Corsa, for example, that's £28,000 for a Corsa, with less moving parts than the mechanical engine version. That car should cost less than the petrol version or the diesel version. It's only because they have to keep so many people employed and sell all these parts that they've not gone mainstream all electric. So as the first manufacturer to go, right, we're going to ditch all these petrol engines and just make electric cars, they will make a ton of money. So there you go, rant over on that one now. Yeah, Ryan, the cam belt disintegrating on that Giulietta was very shocking indeed. So yeah, worth checking that one out. What do you use to stick? Yeah, you just stick it on with some Tiger Seal. Guy Ken asks, how do you stick a spoiler onto a 147? Just something called Tiger Seal, which is just a really strong, flexible glue. I'll say 159s is one of the most cars I work on. I wouldn't say they're tremendously unreliable, but they do have regular problems. Alpha Spider from the 90s, I did like them, but they are just far too small for my frame. So I've never really been interested in them. Jimmy, Alpha 155 appeared on Facebook yesterday, and I commented on it. It was this morning probably. Looks like a bargain, but I would imagine there's going to be rust on there, and they've not mentioned any rust. So if it is rust free, snap it up. I would definitely tell you, James, to try a 5-cylinder Fiat Coupe. Either the turbo or the non-turbo. They are a joy to drive. I wouldn't even entertain putting a 2.5 in a 147. Just save your pennies up and buy a GT 3.2 because they're still reasonably cheap to buy. Brendan, besides Fiat and Alfa, which other brand would I recommend? Over 15 years old, gold. I don't know. My life is Fiats and Alfas. I am quite partial to an Audi and a BMW, but none of those are really 15 years old. So yeah, I don't know on that one. No, I'm stumped. Do I actually like them to drive? I think they're great motorway cruisers, but they handle like a tin of jelly. They are not very good to throw around like some of the older, lighter Alphas like the GTAs and the GTVs. And the 145 is brilliant to throw around. I hope, if I don't sell it, I hope to be taking my blue 145 on a track this year. That would be a video I'd like to do on a track day. I think you guys would probably be quite interested in that. Gabor put a 3-litre Buzo in a 145. Yeah, it's possible because the front of the engines are exactly the same, so they will physically. You can put any engine in any of them. You've just got to have the know-how and how to wire them up, which I don't, unfortunately. I can imagine your French brain struggles with my accent, being from Birmingham. And as I'm quite nervous this evening, I feel like I'm talking quite quickly. So I will try and slow down so you can understand what I'm saying. Problems with your balance belt shaft tensioner clicking and hitting. Then if it's the tensioner, put a new tensioner on it. You can run it without the balance shaft belt, it just won't be as smooth. The gaskets on water pumps, I used to only use the seals provided, but I learnt my lesson on a 2.4. I used the gasket provided, fitted it. It mustn't have gone in quite straight and it caught the seal, so by the time I put it all back together, started it up, it was leaking, so I had to put another seal on it. So now I do put the smallest smidge of sealant around when I fit water pumps. On most of them, stuff like the Mito engines, the multi-air engines, you have to put sealant on them anyway. They don't actually come with a gasket. Would I recommend an upgrade from a 166? It depends on your budget. I would probably say go for a GT. A nice GT is a fun car to drive, but it probably wouldn't be as comfortable as the 166s. Hensford Raceway, yes, it is only up the road, but that's mainly for banger racing, so I wouldn't take anything I'd want to come back in one piece there. Would I use flushing oil? I wouldn't use flushing oil on a multi-valve, multi-air engine. I would assume that's what you mean. Hi, Mario. Merry Christmas to you too. And Merry Christmas to Codzilla. That's a good name, that is. I think I've caught up now. I've done most of the questions. Come on, give me some more questions. Right side window problem of a GT. It could be wiring, it could be ECU, it could be the switch, it could be many things. So it's nothing you can really just diagnose over the internet. I've thought about it, Brendan, converting stuff to electric. I think it would be a possibility because that's the way I think a lot of companies are going to have to go. Especially some of these restoration companies, they're going to have to convert some of these older cars to electric. I consider being quite a big call for it eventually. Okay, you don't really need a hoist to change a clutch in a GTV. You just need to have some decent muscles and the ability to lie on your back to change the clutch and gearbox. But don't just change the release bearing, change the whole thing. Oldest car I've worked on is an Alfetta GTV from 1985. That was before I started doing YouTube videos. I have worked on some other stuff, but mainly I think that's probably the oldest thing that comes to mind. That's the oldest Alfa I've worked on anyway. The oldest car I worked on was when I was with the RAC, and it was a 1928 Ford. And the guy who was driving it actually knew more about it than me, because it didn't have conventional starter motor, it didn't have a conventional alternator, and it was a little bit weird. So yeah, I think he ended up fixing that one. I said, use my tools, you fix your car. Birmingham, yes they are. Yeah, I've never been to Birmingham Wheels actually, just Henswood Raceway. I've had many of good cold nights up there watching the banger racing. I'm not an Alfa 166 fan. I was never a fan of any big car from the 90s. The only 90s big car I liked, which has just popped into my head, was the Rover 800 Sport, which had the 2-litre turbo engine. They were cracking cars, they were, with nice Recaro seats. So if you Google the Rover 800 Sport now, look at the seats in those, and they were quite a good looking car, especially in the Rover's British Racing Green. Hang on, I've lost my count now, I've lost my place. You can fit electric seats into a 159 from a manual, which I have now realised after fitting one last year. You need to change the door ECUs over, otherwise your wing mirrors will drop. And that's one thing I found out way after I fitted it. Have I driven electric? I have driven all 3 of the Tesla 3 Series, and we ordered one last year, but we ended up cancelling it because it was taking way too long to arrive, so we cancelled it, and that's when we had the Julia instead, pretty much. I can see why people love the 166, because they are a big, comfortable car to drive. I'm just... Why am I not a fan of the 166? I'm not a big fan of the original styling. It was very sort of... It had been hit with a shovel. I didn't like it. The facelifted one did look a lot better. There's not many Alphas where the facelift looks better, but the 166, it did talk well. Talking about Rovers, the only Rover I ever owned was, well, technically it wasn't my Rover, it was the ex-wife's Rover. It was a 214 Cabriolet in the British Racing Green. That was alright. It was alright, back in the day anyway. Drazilu, yep, thank you. I appreciate everybody that watches my videos. It is very much appreciated. How old am I? I am 42, going to be 43 in February. I did have a Alpha 155 2.5. I bought it from Copart as a non-runner with no keys. I managed to get it running. It did need... No, it wasn't. I tell a lie. I don't know where I got it from. I forgot where I got it. That was another one I had. Yeah, I bought it. I was going to restore it, but it was going to take way too much welding and time. So I sold it pretty much for what I paid for it. And somebody done it up and was driving around in it for quite a long time afterwards. What's my thoughts on the TBI engine? A very reasonable engine. I have no real complaints about it other than check your timing belt covers. Yeah, I've never owned one, but I've driven plenty of customers' cars and they are pretty nice and rapid to drive. I wouldn't really say there's any major problems with them. Doing the cam belt is a bit of a pain in the backside because you've got 3 timing things to put on, so it does take quite a bit of stripping down to do the cam belt. Fitting a Q2 diff, no, it's not a gearbox off job. You just need to take your subframe off and remove the rear diff covering. I've got to do it on my GTA next year, but the engine's coming out for all that, because I've got to do a cam belt and a clutch on it at the same time. Cabby UK is thinking about importing a GTA seller speed with low mileage. It just so happens that I will have one of those for sales next year. Low mileage, full respray, fully restored engine fitted. So that will be for sale next year. I think most people have owned Rovers throughout their life, especially in the UK. I love the styling of the Volvo P1800. I think that's a really futuristic looking car for when they came out. I did own a 75 briefly. I was going to restore it, but it sat there for 12 months without me touching it, so I sold it and made a couple of £100 on it. Key cloning for a 156. Do you know what? I don't know. I know GTVs, you can just take the keys into any key shop and they'll clone them nowadays. I don't know whether that's the case for 156s now. I haven't had a call to clone a key for a 156 in a long time. Yes, 11 days left for Christmas, and I have absolutely no plans for Christmas. Cam belts on a 1.9, yeah, dead easy to do. It's like 90 minutes for an amateur and you'll have it done. Gear stick's getting very sloppy. Yeah, you need to change your gear stick bushes. Do you know what? Other than a few model cars, which I've got up on the shelf up there, I don't really have any Alpha-related merchandise. And I don't think I'll get any for Christmas either. Yep, see you later, Mercedes. Thanks for watching. Yeah, thank you, John, as well. Thanks for coming. So I'm going to be on until about 8 o'clock, so keep your questions coming. No, what special edition 145s in England? The only sort of remote special edition I can think of is the 146 Ti. You didn't get a 146 Cloverleaf, which I thought was weird. Do I repair any cars? Yes, I repair loads of cars. It is an Alpha GT seat. I got it out of the first Buzzo engine GT I bought to break. This is the passenger seat from it. The driver's seat had the airbag deploy on it, and somebody in their wisdom put the diff on the driver's seat and also wrecked it, so I never bothered doing anything with it. What do you think of? I put a video of the Stelvio up, which not many people watched, considering I spent a whole day filming it, a whole day editing it, and only about 4,000 people watched it. So I actually really enjoyed the 2020 Stelvio. It's a really good car. Next, I'm getting ahead of myself now. You have a comedy-like noise from the front of your 147. I would say top arms. If it's not your top arms, it's probably your anti-roll bar bushes have been, as they're getting on a bit now. They are probably squeaking when you go over bumps. Yep, my painting skills are, well, most of my skills are self-taught. I've always been the type of guy who'll turn my hand to anything. I'm definitely a master of nothing, but I will turn my hand to pretty much anything, and I do enjoy painting. I like turning something which is absolutely nasty and rusty into something smooth and sparkly. There'll be a painting video coming up over the next month, because I've got to do all the body work on the Fiat Coupe, so we'll have a few videos on that. I can say at least I can get another 3-4 videos out of that Fiat Coupe. I don't know why your windows only work when the engine is off. I don't know. It might be need a proxy alignment or something like that. I started my business just over 10 years ago. I used to work for the RAC as a patrolman. Decided I hated doing the shifts and doing wheel changes on the hard shoulder of the motorway, so I decided to originally start to break Alphas, and that's eventually evolved into repairing and restoring them. I've actually pretty much stopped braking now. I haven't bought a breaker in 6, 7, 8 months now. I've still got tons of parts left, so I've got plenty to get rid of still. But for the moment, I'm not going to be doing any more braking because I don't have the time. Why do Alphas get bad press? Stigma has stuck with them from the rusty Alphas of the 70s and 80s. I have wondered myself recently why Alpha haven't managed to shake it, like, for example, Skoda have. Still wouldn't own one, by the way. But VW have turned Skoda right the way around, and Alpha seem to have tried several times but not succeeded. And I think what lets them down, without a doubt, are the dealers. They are trying to sell a premium product through dealers that, quite frankly, most of them couldn't sell a cake. What's the most useless skill I have? I'd say I'm pretty unskilled, to be honest. I can do a Donald Duck impression. That's about all I can do. That's pretty useless. Thank you, Seamus. Have a happy Christmas to you, and thank you for watching. What's next? 146 facelift. Could I check for any not too likely to flies? Rust behind the plastic wheel arch line. Yeah, you can. There's probably will be rust behind the arch liners, but to see it, you will need to remove your arch liners. And good luck with that, because that's fun. RAC. Hang on, I can't see that. There's an arrow in the way. Hang on, I've lost my place now. Yeah, the RAC is a breakdown service in England, the Royal Automobile Club, and I worked there for 10 years. The 159 repair that I recently re-uploaded, I actually bought that to test my skills on, and pretty much just a film for the channel. It was a case of I bought it, I can't remember, I think I paid about 800 quid for it. So I got it reasonably cheap. The mileage was pretty good. It seemed in pretty good condition other than the accident damage. And I thought, all right, let's test myself and see whether I can make something this ugly look good again. And I think I succeeded pretty well with that. Didn't make much money on it. I think I made about 200 quid on it. So the cost of repair was way higher than I thought it was going to be from the amount of hours it took. Getting that roof line right, that took about 3 days to get that right. Yeah, I've been able to do Donald Duck since I was probably about 4 years old. I don't think many people can do Donald Duck quite well, but yeah, I've done it a lot of time. Do I work alone in my workshop? Yes, I do. It can be a little hard, but like anything, you learn to work alone. I don't think I could do my job without my forklift. My forklift is my workshop second pair of hands. It does all the heavy lifting for me. I wouldn't do an engine swap without one nowadays. I don't even get my engine crane out anymore. In fact, if anybody wants an engine crane, let me know. I've got a really good one in the unit that I never use. I use everything with the forklift because you just chuck it straight in and it holds it in the right spot, and it's brilliant. Yeah, Mark Seabay, the Italian that we used to be ahead of everybody when it came to making technology in cars, but because money was tight during the 90s and noughties for the Italian car makers, apart from Ferrari and Lamborghini, of course, which was tight for both of them, they've just slipped behind. And I think the Italian way of thinking, I would imagine a lot of people would agree with this, they are very laid back. And that's probably doesn't help when it comes to the design ethics. Do I think the 159 is a future classic? No. In no way, shape or form is the 19 a future classic, because it's got it's never really won many awards back when it was new, and it wasn't known for being particularly fast or anything unique on it, so I don't think the 159 will ever be a classic. £6,000 to spend. I reckon you could get yourself a very nice Zoe Yellow Alpha 145 Cloverleaf that had been fully restored. Now, for £6 I reckon you could probably get yourself a very nice 3.2 GT. That is probably going to be the best money you can spend at the minute. Upgrade for the garage. If only I had the time to upgrade, I would like to get a third ramp, because at the minute my long-term restoration projects spend months sitting on the ramp. So when it comes to doing a quick turnaround job for sort of a service work and stuff like that, sometimes I haven't got a ramp free. So either I've got to lumber the car off the ramp just to do a quick service, or I have to do it on some axle stands on the unit floor. So a third ramp would be nice. 156Q system is extremely rare, so if you do have any problems with it, you're going to struggle to get any Q system specific gearbox stuff. Hello to Peter in Poland. It might be the Birmingham accent. Yes, that might make doing the Donald Duck impression a little bit easier. Oh, hang on. I've moved my screen and I'm a bit behind now, so I'm going to skip some of these so I can catch up. I think Fiat's greatest years were in the 90s. I think for me, it's probably to do with my age and when I started driving. I started driving in 95. And that was just as the Punto came out, so that was sort of the reasoning I got into Fiats and Alphas, was because that was the first new car I had, was a blue Fiat Punto Sporting in '98. That was the first car I had, but always liked the Puntos. The 147 GTA will definitely become a classic, but all the others, only time will tell. Hi David, yep, happy Christmas to you. Thanks for watching. And a little bit of rainwater in the spare wheel well of what car, sorry. Check your boot seal, that's the only thing I can really say where that's coming from on that. Hello, Alfa Romeo Spider. Floor paint for a garage, I would use the epoxy stuff, but to be honest, most paint you use on a garage floor will come off because you're getting loads of corrosive materials all on it all the time. That is my wife's Lego Disney castle. Yes, she does love building her Lego castle. I have actually, there's a Lego Batman car behind as well, behind my head. That's what I built last Christmas. And I have a Lego Range Rover to build over Christmas. I got that from Costco for $89.99 rather than the 160 quid they are at Lego. So Defender, that's it. I'll be building a Lego Defender over Christmas, so that will be what I'll be doing in my downtime. I use thread locker on the bolts where there should be thread locker used. Never had many issues with firewall rot on Alpha 156s, but you will probably find some on the very rusty ones underneath the where the subframe mounts to the floor. How many I haven't got any spiders anymore. They've all gone. I've sold them all. I do own the GTV V6 still. GTV and twin spark spider values will start to rise just purely because of the age, and they are quite a unique looking car, so I think they will get the old values rising. 156s, will they be a classic? The GTAs most definitely, maybe to a point the 2.5s. The 156 did win Car of the Year or something like that when it first came out, so there is still a little bit of a following to 156s, so it's highly possible, but it's mainly going to be the GTAs which are going up in value as they are. Bravo HTT, I'd always say a 145 Cloverleaf over the Bravo HDT because the build quality and everything in those wasn't very good. It wasn't as good as the Punto anyway. The 159. Hang on, right, I'm losing my mind now. The 2.4 diesel engine in the 159, they are only expensive to maintain if they've not been looked after throughout their life. Because it's a 5-cylinder engine, everything's tight to do. Even doing a cam belt's quite tight. So it does take, taking the turbo off can be a right pain. They're not as easy to work on as the 1.9s. I have got a diesel heater inside the unit, and that keeps me nice and toasty. I think I paid 150 quid for it, and does great. Gearbox oil change, I'd probably say 5 years and 50,000 miles. Gearbox oil does go on forever, pretty much. I wouldn't worry about changing that too often, especially in sort of twin spark gearboxes. They are fairly tight gearboxes. I've never used or fitted a reverse camera into a Julia QV. I'd imagine to do that you'd probably have to change the stereo to one with a reverse camera. You can weld subframes, but you cannot weld sort of suspension arms and stuff like that for MOT purposes in the UK anyway. Iterari, yep, see you soon then, bring that up, it'd be great to work on it. Hi, look, yeah, there will be some more videos coming up on the Barchetta because I do want to get that sold and gone. It's sitting in the unit. I need to do some more paint work on it. I do want to change the hood. I've got to look into the airbag ECU because the airbag light flickers, and I need to find out why the wipers don't want to work. So there are some more videos coming up on that when I eventually get time to work on it. Bosch or Magneti Marelli, either is perfectly fine. I've been using a lot of the Magneti Marelli brake pads and brake discs lately, and you get a thumbs up from those from me. 16 valve twin spark is my preferred because it's a little bit more pokey. Is there a bolt on trailer at 159? Yeah, but they're not that easy to fit. I think you do have to drill through the rear mounting sort of beam at the back of the car. Yeah, what is a lot of people's problems with there being diesel engines in Alphas? If Alpha hadn't put any diesel engines in their cars, they would have gone bust in the noughties, because most of the Alphas they sold had diesel engine in them. So yeah, no, I've got no problems with people needing a diesel engine for their way of life. It's not economical to have a 2-litre petrol over a 2-litre diesel engine. The economy is so much better when you're tootling up and down the motorway. So I have no problems with diesel engines. Better say any twin spark. It's exhaust. That's all you can really do. I wouldn't even bother changing the air filter housing because it doesn't give you any benefits other than a little bit more sucky noise. So I wouldn't even bother with that. I've always bought wreck cars without seeing them. I'm taking a gamble. It's a wreck car at the end of the day. I expect it to be more problems than you can see in the photos. But I've always done it. I've always bought cars from Copart, sight unseen. I've always bought them, got them to the unit, looked around them, weighed up whether it was a point of can I make more money repairing them or can I make more money in parts. And a lot of the time, more so lately, I haven't even wanted to break them. Even the stuff that's not going to make me money on, I've still repaired it, like the 159. Favourite brand of tools? I will use anything apart from the cheapest of the cheap. I would say Bergen is actually pretty good for a cheap-ish tool. I do not own any of the Snap-on stuff. I think it's a complete not a waste of money. For the amount of tools I lose, or break, or modify, spanners mainly the main one I modify to fit in certain spaces, I wouldn't recommend buying Snap-on and Mac tools and stuff like that. It's just a waste. If that's your thing, you want to have a nice tool set, then that's perfectly fine. But it's never been a thing for me to have expensive tools, other than my Whizzy Snap-on gun. That's the only majorly expensive tool I have. and obviously the welder and stuff like that. Oh, this seat behind me is from an Alpha GT. I have mentioned that a little bit earlier. I have said earlier in the video about the 1.4 multi-air. Yeah, bring your 166 to me and I will gladly do the belts in that, because you have tons of room in the engine bay to do the belts. That's the only thing I do like doing on the 166 is engine work, because you do have plenty of room to do stuff inside there. The engine ban, I would imagine 2021. I don't know what you mean. Whether there's an engine ban in, I know the petrol engine ban in 2030. So you'll have to explain that one a bit more, Adam Green. Yeah, it's good playing. I had a GTV in the unit today where I got a few pints of water out of the sills when I unblocked the drains. There's no video. I talked about it earlier in this live feed about the multi-air engines. But yeah, I should do a full video on the multi-air engine, whether it be changing the multi-air units and servicing them and stuff like that. It's probably worthwhile to do a video on that at some point. Alpha are useless when it comes to getting old parts for cars. It seems to me that when they get to 10-year-old, they sell all their parts off, and other Alpha parts sellers buy them all and then sell them. So yeah, Alpha are pretty useless when it comes to getting parts for older cars. No, headrests on GT seats are perfectly fine. They're okay. Lambda sensors. I normally use genuine when it comes to lambda sensors. Not so much coil packs, but lambda sensors I will always get genuine, which does tend to be Bosch. Because I have heard of some stuff. Well, I know of one. There was a Giulietta 2-litre diesel. A garage, car sales garage, kept fitting O2 sensors to it. They were always fitting the cheapest of the cheap. And it was coming back with O2 sensor 1 running rich constantly. And after several sensors, the guy came to me and I was like, checked it all out. So look, it is saying it's an O2 sensor full. All the readings are saying O2 sensor full. So I fitted a genuine O2 sensor and the problem was cured. So when it comes to O2 sensors, always fit genuine. 2030 ban on internal combustion. I have no idea, because car manufacturers are keeping it far too close to the belt and they're being far too sneaky and not bringing them out soon enough. I think Alpha needs to get its Stelvio out a lot quicker than 2022-23 because it is hurting them now. They need to get an all-electric, not Stelvio. Stelvio would be nice. What's the name of the new little 4x4 Alpha? Yeah, that one. That needs to be Tonale. That needs to be all electric. It probably will be, to be honest. That's why it's been delayed from 2021 to 22, is because they're going to make it all electric, like the Fiat 500 is. 156 that crashes over potholes. You've changed the top arms and lower arms. Try changing your anti-roll bar links and anti-roll bar bushes. Right, gearbox in your Mito. Yeah, I had a Mito brand new in 2010 Cloverleaf QV, which they are now. And at 6 months old, we had to have a new gearbox put in it. And that was gone. Even when they were brand new, we had to wait 3 months for that to come. So, yeah, they are a problem when it comes to getting parts. Halfords tool set, yeah, I've got some Halfords tool stuff. They're fine, and they've got the professional stuff used to come or still comes with a good warranty. I have no political opinion on anything at all on Facebook or YouTube. I have no political opinions at all. Tonale, yeah, that was it. I don't rebuild gearboxes. I don't fully rebuild engines. I don't have the tools. My workshop isn't clean enough. So I always send them to somebody who knows more than me, because the job will get done better. Now, I'm not hung up about engines in cars. I'm all about how a car feels and how a car drives. It doesn't need an engine. It doesn't need an exhaust note. I think like the baths, everybody's all about the raspy engines and the exhaust note. Well, no, the Abarths are fun cars to drive, and they're small and they're nippy. You can throw them around. So you chuck a nippy diesel, not diesel, electric motor in an Abarth. Give it some fancy styling. Make sure it handles nicely. Give these people the exhaust options of the speaker exhausts, which they have in electric cars, and I think they will sell really well. I think Abarth need to now drop the engines, bring them all electric, 200-mile range, and they will sell really well. In fact, I would buy one. If Abarth brought out an electric car that was good, I would sell my Julia and I would order an Abarth electric. Ever drove a really loud 156? I wouldn't overly lower a car around my area because their roads are really bad and there are loads of speed humps. I have no idea why your V6 has a weak heater. I would have to have a look at it. A friend taught me how to weld in about 5 minutes, and the rest of it was just practice on some old bits of metal. I still definitely wouldn't say I'm the best welder. Some of my welds are quite huge and I have to grind them down. But, you know, I always try and get a clean and tidy job where possible. I do not have a idea what you're going about the Limpredi twin cam. Thoughts on the 1.4 twin spark? They were never out in the UK, so I've never ever seen or worked on one. Yeah, I had to do some welding this week on a GTV, or was it Spider? It was a GTV, and no, I didn't. I had to do a little bit of welding on that GT Buzzo, and yeah, I'm still not a fan. I had to cut out some of the seal, make it to the right shape of the seal, and weld it all back in again, and then grind the welds down. And now I'm just at the point where it's primed up. I need to a little bit of filler now, and then prep the rest of the car for bodywork. Yep, thank you, Barry. So I think what we got, we've done an hour now. I think we'll start to wrap it up. So get your final questions in. Cheers, Guy. Yeah, thanks to Ruston. Thanks for watching. You see now, early Fiat engines, they're not my bang. I don't really work on anything pre-95, so anything older than that, my knowledge is vastly limited. I would love to find new boot seals for 145s and 146s, but the only ones listed I could find were they said they would fit, but they wouldn't. So I can't find one at the minute. I could do with one for my my 145. You'll find out tomorrow what the next project is. Yeah, we got the 2.2 JTS in the UK. I actually changed a O2 sensor on one today, and what a pain in the backside that was. Future plans for YouTube is just to carry on doing the restoration type videos and just grow the channel. I want to grow it now. I enjoy doing it. I would like to do 2 videos a week if possible, but having the time to do it, and it's difficult to put 2 videos out a week. Sometimes it's tough to put one out, but I always definitely try and do at least something for you once a week. So guys, we will call that an end now. So thank you all for watching, and let me find out how I end this video. But yeah, thanks, and hope you all have a very nice Christmas. See you later.